You think how like people don't look great eating as is, and then we put blindfolds on and then eat? Like, I mean, why? Why would I do this to us? Coming up on Need to Know, TikTok holiday themed desserts, the best chocolate chips on the market, and where's the best place to shop for holiday dishes. All that and everything else you need to know. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Need to Know. I'm Gemma Stafford, professional chef, cookbook author, and the creator of Bigger Bolder Baking. And as always, I'm here with my two lovely ladies, Ami Shukla, who is the director of culinary here at BBB, and Tiana Cohn, who is an amateur baker but a professional host.
Hello.
Hello ladies,
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. So good. I'm excited because this is our last episode right before Christmas. So I'm excited to get fully immersed into all the holidays. And, you know, we've talked about pies, we've talked about Christmas cookies. So now I really want to just jump right into hot from the oven and talk about all these super fun, creative, themed desserts that I see all over TikTok. I know I shared some with you already, so I'm going to just, for those listening and on YouTube, I'm going to tell you these ones that I've seen. So the first super creative dessert I'm seeing is pine cone brownies, where you basically take a brownie, you shape it like a pine cone, and then you take these chocolate crisp cereals and you put them all on, stack them on, and then you sprinkle it with powdered sugar and it looks like a snow-covered pine cone. There are things out there like edible snow globe cupcakes, where you use gelatin and you put it on top of your cupcake and you fill the cupcake with like little snowman and stuff. Reindeer cake pops, which if you've ever been to Starbucks, you know what that looks like. And then Oreos that are decorated to look like Christmas ornaments. It made me wonder, have you ever made any of these fun, creative desserts? And what would be some tips to give somebody to make these involved Christmas treats more attainable?
For those of you who are watching, if you want to see those videos, we have the links in the show notes. I have to say, I thought they were very cute, especially the little brownie pine cone. I don't really do cutesy desserts. I feel like life's a little bit too short to spend your time like, you know, molding stuff and sticking stuff on or whatever. So it's not really my vibe, but and it starts to head into DIY territory, which like on Bigger Bolder Baking, we've never had great success with. We did 2 years ago or last year, we made actually they were really gorgeous snow globe cookies. Where we had sugar cookie, the kind of crispy sugar cookie. We ground some clear mint candies, and we did kind of like, you know, you would see the stained glass. But we took it one step further and did a 3D snow globe. And we stuck kind of sprinkles and things like that in the middle of it. And it was really fun. You stick them together and then you hang them on the tree. They're not really edible because of the melted candy is very hard, but they're very cute and a really fun thing for kids to do. I'm actually going to do some with George this year and then stick them on the tree. Those are really nice.
Yeah, we also did like a Christmas tree, really easy Christmas trees and reindeer cookies that are easy to do with kids. I think a lot of these wonderful creative holiday themed desserts are really great activities to do. You can have a few kids over or your adult friends over, and everybody can make these things around a table with some cocktails. No judgment. I think it's actually kind of fun. And it makes a fun sort of festive activity around, at a holiday party. So the one thing I will say is manage your expectations when you're doing any of these things. Whatever you see on a video is likely not as easy as it's portrayed.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. Sometimes you'll be surprised, but I can't tell you how many times, not even just for the holidays, I've thought, oh, okay, I've seen a few videos. I know how to do this. This looks really simple. And then it's not simple at all. So have a sense of humor, approach it with a sense of fun. It's silly fun. And then, if you're trying to do this as an activity, especially with kids, make sure that you have one or two really easy and accessible ideas, like, a little frosting and sprinkles as an option, just so that nobody feels totally discouraged if they can't stick the cereal on the brownie.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I have to say, I don't know if you've ever tried this, because I know you're a really great cake decorator. I tried before that snow globe cupcake years ago, and I tried to create that balloon with the gelatin, and I never got it to work.
Did it just collapse, like when you poke the balloon?
It never set. It was just weird, and it never set, and it just didn't. I just could not get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have made any of these treats, if you got any tips for us, I really want to try the pine cone brownies.
I have to say though, but I like those because they seem simple. You can use box brownie if you want to. When she dusted them with powdered sugar, I did go kind of, like I did think that they were really, and like Ami said, I will go in my house. It's like my MO is what can I turn into an activity? Mm-hmm. How can I get the most amount of energy out of them? How can I get them to like stay still and be quiet and like focus on something? And by him, I mean George. And baking is one of them. We've been doing cookie decorating since mid-November, because it's a great, it's like, we did a shoot in August and we had cookie doughs in the freezer, and I would just take out cookie doughs and I'd let him roll them out, let him bake them. And they do not look like the best ever cookie. Like some are thicker than others, and they're a bit gnarly looking, but he's delighted. And then just let him go to town, give him all the sprinkles, frosting, go nuts. Yeah. Put it in a tray so you try and keep it contained but George was sick there a while ago, and for days this is what he did because he was off school for a week. So I makes a good point, turn it into an activity and something fun.
Yeah.
Also, those pine cone brownies makes me think those would be really lovely if you're making a Yule log. And if you want to instead, there's meringue mushrooms, but you could have a few of those pine cone brownies around the platter. Or you could cut out other decorative ideas for a Yule log. You could cut out like holly leaf shaped shortbread and
nice
frost them, and just some edible treats.
Jeweled cranberries, when you dip them in sugar and egg white.
Yeah, so that it has some sort of purpose beyond just making them and eating them, but to decorate something else.
Definitely. Well, regardless if you are getting creative in the kitchen or keeping it simple with cookies, I think we can all agree that we need the best chocolate ingredients. All Recipes conducted a poll with a panel of pro bakers on what they think are the best chocolate chip cookies, and there was one clear winner, and that was Ghirardelli chocolate chips, which I feel like we can all agree on. There were a few other brands that had honorable mention, and that is Guittard Extra Dark and Semi-Sweet, Nestle Toll House Semi-Sweet, Trader Joe's Semi-Sweet, Valrhona 70% Cacao Dark Chocolate. We actually just talked about in our last episode the difference between chocolates. So if you need a little bit more in depth about maybe why the Ghirardelli chocolate chips took the winner, go listen to last week's episode. And if you need more proof, I thought this was so interesting. Bon Appetit also conducted a blind taste test, and Ghirardelli chocolate chips also won.
Over Valrhona?
Yes. Wow. In both of these. So my question is, do either of you have a brand of chocolate chip that you prefer? What would be your honorable mentions as backups? Which we did talk a little bit about chocolate last week, but maybe in a little more detail.
Mine, you know what? Guittard is a lovely chocolate, but I never use it. Mm-hmm. And I see it. It's accessible. I see it in Smart & Final. I see it at Whole Foods. I never buy it. I always grab a bag of Ghirardelli. They're semi-sweet chocolate chips. They are really good.
I do too. I'll get Ghirardelli. If I can't find Ghirardelli and I can find Guittard, I'll get that. I will also chop up a bar of Valrhona chocolate and put it in my chocolate chip cookies.
But if I for the chocolate chips, I definitely go Ghirardelli. Ghirardelli is I think for a quality standpoint the best chocolate chips. I do wish that Lindt made chocolate chips, and they don't. They just focus on bars. But I bet if they did chocolate chips, they would be delicious.
They'd probably be delicious. I'm actually surprised that Trader Joe's was up there with honorable mentions, because I never think of Trader Joe's as having quality. I love Trader Joe's. I love all of their packaged food and whatnot. But I never.
Snacks.
Yeah, the snacks are the best. But I never think about that as a place to get quality baking products?
I get my chocolate there. Which I've said previously, and I really like it. It's the best value for money, but it's also good quality. I have never, because I don't buy chocolate chips that often, I've never bought their chocolate chips. So maybe I should try them. Yeah.
I have a question here, and it's: are there other types of chips beyond chocolate? Like, do these brands also make butterscotch or peppermint chips? What are your choices with those?
Do you ever hear Marge Simpson when she sees something she doesn't like? Sorry, now that's my response to that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a label reader. So when I start to pick up something like butterscotch chips, which do taste good, if someone would hand me something with butterscotch chips, I don't mind it. But if I am at a store and I look at the label and I see a whole bunch of things in it, I don't want it. I don't want to buy it. So I don't really do that.
Yeah, usually the brands that do, you will not see high quality chocolate brands make peppermint chocolate chips or butterscotch chocolate. They won't do it. You'll see the cheaper brands do that because they focus on using cheaper chocolate. And I wouldn't. I've seen recipes over the years that I've called when we're testing stuff and we see it out there like butterscotch chocolate chips, and they serve a purpose for certain things. Anytime those kind of recipes have come to us, I've said no, because I just, number one, you can't buy in Ireland, you can't buy butterscotch flavored chocolate chips. And I just, no, the quality is too poor.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather work on achieving a butterscotch flavor just through brown sugar, like in a blondie. Blondie has brown sugar and butter, and that's what creates that wonderful butterscotchy flavor.
Yeah.
And then skip the chocolate chip, the butterscotch chips.
That's a really good
that
point.
is.
A brownie or blondie is a really good point. And then just go for a good quality bar of like Lindt chopped up or something like that.
So is a
Ghirardelli.
butterscotch like not a real thing? In a way, like
it's made up.
It's made up. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Well,
yeah.
in a chip form.
In a chip form, yeah. That's like
yeah.
not a thing.
No, it's
No.
not. No, it's, I mean, it's, there's different ideas of the history behind what butterscotch flavor is. Some people think it actually had scotch in it. Some people say it was like scorched butter. It was, there's like a lot of like different, I don't know that I've ever learned anything particularly definitive about how that came about, but we all recognize it when we eat it as like sort of caramely, but not quite. And so it has its own particular flavor.
I love butterscotch flavor. I love caramel, butterscotchy, anything. Brown sugar and butter and salty stuff. Yum.
But you could, in theory, make your own peppermint chocolate.
Yeah, you could probably also make your own homemade butterscotch chocolate chips.
Yeah. Interesting.
I also think that I've never seen a peppermint chocolate chip, but I think that would really just be any quality chocolate, good or bad, with some peppermint oil in it, which doesn't sound like that would be bad. That wouldn't be something that I wouldn't eat.
The only thing I can picture is the Hershey's Kisses, the peppermint ones that they come out with this time of year. But it's white chocolate.
Is it?
I think, because they're white. I'm assuming it's white chocolate. White and then peppermint. Like the red stripe.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's probably a peppermint extract and food dye.
I may not be
Might.
white.
We'll have to read the label.
I do. I have to say though, as I probably sound like a snob sometimes, but I ever since I was a young child, I loved white chocolate, and it never seemed to fade. Even though, like, I know what, like some people, and rightly so, like don't consider white chocolate a chocolate. But I do. I don't know. There's just something about, like, when I was a child, I used to get like Milky Bars, which were like white chocolate. I'm using air quotes here. And I loved them. I will say that Ghirardelli, have you guys seen the little squares that they make? The white chocolate and peppermint squares?
Oh, yeah.
They are really
Those
good.
are good. And no matter what the whole baking world says, I will argue that white chocolate, when it actually is made with cocoa butter, is chocolate. It has an element of chocolate
when it's
in
made
there.
with cocoa butter.
It's made with cocoa butter. It doesn't have cocoa solids in it, but where do you get the cocoa butter? You get it from the cocoa bean. So there's plenty of white chocolate chips that have no cocoa butter in them whatsoever. And that, I would say, yes, that's not white chocolate. That's not chocolate. But I think white chocolate is still in the category of chocolate.
Well, be sure to stick around to the end of this episode because the three of us are going to do our very own chocolate chip blind taste test. So stay tuned. So we only have a few days left here before all the holidays. So if you are a last minute shopper like me, you might be able to find some gifts at Anthropologie's new holiday collection. And so this was funny to me. I was looking through this list of Anthropologie's new line of different household items, and some of the prices to me were funny, so I wanted to read them to you. So they have a whole plethora of things, but some things they have on their list are candy cane drink stirrers, which go for about $26. You get
For how many?
2 stirrers.
Oh my gosh.
I know this. Another one that I really loved was the Holife ceramic stoneware platter. So it's like one beautiful platter, $44. For a set of 4 beaded candy cane coasters for $58.
Oh my god.
And then this one's my favorite. 12 days of Christmas dessert plates for $216.
No, I'm sorry now. I'm sorry. But who are you? Like who are you that is
Okay,
buying?
first of all, let's go down this list. Those candy cane drink stirrers
For
are made
2.
of glass.
Yeah.
They're made of glass. Like, who would put a glass stirrer in a cocktail unless you want to kill somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like that is so dangerous. Why? Like, why? Why would you do that?
Or imagine you get them or you have them and then George grabs it.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that's an accident waiting to happen.
yeah, right. It's Christmas time. You're like, don't touch my Christmas plate.
Yeah.
That was $200.
That's insane.
I
Yeah,
know. I mean,
it's-
I get it. There's a part of me that gets it, but it's
know-
also insane.
You know what I'm thinking? And this is talk about something that grinds my gears. During, around this time of year, like, in early December, you'll start to see segments on TV shows that are like, hostess gifts when you're going over to somebody who you've been invited over to somebody's house. And it's a hostess gift. And it's like, here, you can bring her over these essential oils for like $75. And here's this, or like, here's, 2 stirrers for $26. It's like, guys, come on.
No, you know what?
Insane.
Yeah, get your hostess a really nice
bottle of
bottle of wine.
Get her a
That
bottle of
is
wine.
it. That is
That's
something
what she
consumable.
wants.
Yes.
100%. Or whatever she consumes. Maybe it's tequila. I don't know.
Yeah, but just do
something.
that.
Yeah.
Get her a good bottle of, or him, a good bottle of alcohol.
Yeah.
Or, and if they don't like it or whatever, it's the holiday season. They'll just pass it on to
Yeah,
somebody
like
else.
don't give them like a couple of wine glasses that are super random that they just have to,
Yeah, for 2 people.
Yeah, right. Why don't do that? Don't do that. Unless it's really like something they want or love, like, but if that all they really want is a set of $200 holiday plates from Anthropologie, maybe you can do that.
Oh my gosh, that to me is insane.
If you are going to give a thing, it is a nice thing to 1, give a gift receipt, and 2, don't do a tacky thing and ever ask anyone about the gift that you gave them.
Oh,
Have you ever had anyone do that to you? Like, oh, where are those candlesticks I gave you?
No way.
That's not okay. Don't ever ask.
No, they're in
Don't ever
goodwill.
ask. Yeah.
Because who needs candlesticks?
Anthropologie has a set of 2 for $36.
Go, there you go.
So what are, in your opinions, what are some good places to get good gifts, either hostess gifts for bakers or just anyone in your life last minute that won't maybe break the bank?
I am consistent with my answer. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, which are all owned by the same company. Go there.
I didn't know that.
Because don't get me wrong, like I was actually in Marshalls yesterday. Sometimes you do have to sort through some junk to get to good stuff, but they do carry a variety of lines. When it comes to platters and things like that, they sell some beautiful stuff that comes from Portugal and Spain. And they're really lovely. They've got a lot of variety. It's like what I like about it, it's all under the one roof. So like you can find stirrers, or you can find platters, or you can find something related to alcohol, like glasses or whatever. I would do that, and it's inexpensive and easy.
Yeah.
I think, in terms of hostess gifts, I'll just reiterate, like something consumable, with some flavored salts, flavored sugars, some fun spices, teas, a box of tea.
Your pepper.
Yes, Urfa pepper.
Yeah.
Just like those kinds of things are nice. They're useful. They don't take up a lot of space. And if you are trying to have a festive holiday table and you want to have some pretty plates or platters, go to your local thrift stores. I guarantee that somebody went to some store and got a bunch of holiday things and then thought better of it and dropped it off at Goodwill, and then you can borrow it for a season before you decide you don't want that anymore. Or keep it forever. But I see so much holiday stuff starting in October, sometimes year round. There's a lot of thrift stores around us here in LA. We're really lucky that way. And there are so many wonderful treasures. It's a really fun way to unwind. You're busy, you're doing a lot of holiday shopping, there's a lot of events and activities. Just go relax with a cup of coffee and walk through your local thrift stores and rummage through things. You'll find treasures. You'll find wonderful things.
Well, that is all I have this week from Hot from the Oven. So thank you both so much. If you're baking this week for the holidays, if you're making anything super fun or creative, or just want to share with us your holiday treats, you can tag us at Need to Know Pod on Instagram. We would love to see it. Maybe share it to our Instagram story. So please tag us. And now it's time to talk about the true reason for the season, and that's bread. So our In the Mix topic today is all about holiday breads. I thought we could just discuss some of the different types of holiday breads that people make throughout the year and maybe ways to achieve them. So what are some of the top holiday breads?
Well, first, before we even go into it, can we talk a little bit about what is bread on the holiday? Like, why are there so many holiday breads?
Yeah.
Do you have an answer for that?
No, I was hoping you did because you started the conversation. Well, they don't look at me.
I do have part of an answer, and I wanted to confirm this with anybody. But is that there's a lot of symbolism around bread. That it's about life. It's about hope. It's it has a lot of religious symbolism.
Yeah, like around Easter time, we see that a lot. That makes sense. That sounds plausible to me. I'll agree with you on that.
Okay. It was interesting to me because as we've done many holiday shoots and we've gone down this list of like every country has European countries, not every country, but like throughout Europe and America, and there's a lot of holiday breads. I just thought it was very interesting. They're very similar. There's a lot of similar things to the ingredients, but different too per country, per tradition.
So one of the most popular, I think, Christmas breads would be a panettone, which we all know with that big, beautiful box. You get it in a supermarket, probably since like November or even October. You can buy them in pharmacies here, like at Walgreens. You get them at, I see them in TJ Maxx.
You can get them at Trader Joe's.
You get them at Trader Joe's. And they're lovely. It's a yeasted dough. It's nice and light and airy. A little bit like the way I imagine, like, well, not imagine, like I remember classic brioche being. It's an enriched dough and it's studded with like jeweled like fruit, cranberries and sultanas and candied peel and things like that. It's really lovely. I actually have a recipe on biggerbolderbaking.com for it. It's a classic. It's nice and light and airy. The history of panettone is a little bit of a funny one, and it kind of, when I read it, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's true or not. But as the story goes, a cook named Tony, who was the cook for the Duke of Milan, created a panettone loaf one night by using a starter that he had for sourdough, because panettone, the base of it is done with a starter. And he took the sourdough starter, and he developed a bread with that, with all this fruit and things like that. And the Duke loved it so much, he called it panettone. But eventually it ended up being like panettone. So I don't know. I'll take that.
Tony?
Tony.
Panettone.
From Milan. Not New Jersey. Milan.
Tony from Milan.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's famous bread.
It's like, it's me, Mario.
There's a lot of stories online, and they're not always true.
No, I don't know if that one is either. But it did tell us, like, that's the history of the bread. But it's a lovely one. It's an iconic one. And actually, there's our photographer who does our shoots here. She said that in Peru, panettone around the holiday season is like such a treat. And she said, like, everybody loves it. So it definitely is part of like different cultures, and it's worldwide, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I've
it really
never
is.
had it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's
Never
sort
had
of
it?
orangey.
No
There's
way.
orange, vanilla, dried
It's so
fruit.
light.
It's good.
And like, it's a beautiful loaf. It really is. And I actually have a recipe for, and I really love this. I love like utilizing things in different ways. Panettone bread pudding. So because often you can get gifted this during the holiday season. And in case you didn't end up eating the whole loaf, or you didn't really know what to do with it or whatever, to keep it and turn it into a bread pudding, which makes perfect sense when you think about like where bread puddings came from. And just make your custard base, you have your bread and soak it, put it in the dish and bake it. It's really lovely.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it has
It's
these
really
orange floral flavors. It's yum.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best bread puddings I've ever had.
No way,
I
really?
loved that so much.
I have panettone in the freezer. I should give you some.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay!
I have 3 loaves, so you're doing me a favor. I'm not being really nice. You're actually doing me a favor.
Oh, I love it so much.
So are there any other types of bread that
We also made, a few years ago, we made Stalin.
Yeah,
which
we
is
did.
a German holiday bread. I love this bread because it has marzipan in it, which I absolutely love. It's a really interesting sort of shaping technique. So it's again a dough studded with a lot of dried fruit, and then you have a log of marzipan, and there's a very particular way that you're supposed to shape the dough around the marzipan, and then you cover it with powdered sugar and I think this is one of those breads, like a lot of these holiday breads, that can be made a long time in advance and sort of preserved with alcohol a little bit. We didn't do it that way. I mean, I think you can eat it right away, but so that's really lovely.
From my research, some other breads that I found that are really popular and for the holidays are bishop's bread, kringle, which is a Danish pastry, and Finnish Christmas bread, which is a traditional Finnish Christmas bread flavored with spices and fennel and anise and caraway seeds, and along with things like molasses. So there's so many different breads to really celebrate the holiday season.
Yeah. So the bishop's bread is Croatian, and we actually have that on biggerbolderbaking.com, and it's kind of like a quick bread. It's not yeasted, and it has a lot of fruit, nuts, and then also chocolate chips. There's a lot going on. It's really flavorful and like really lovely. And it's so, you'd think that that's such a niche recipe, but when we launched that on like social media, on Facebook went nuts for it. Every year it gets posted, people go nuts for it, which is I thought was really interesting, because I kind of feel like that's one of the recipes that you kind of grow up with,
Right?
That you know it because you grew up with it, and that's why you like it. But that's a really fun
Really
one.
good. And last year for the holidays, we made for Bigger Bolder Baking, we made the Danish kringle, and we also made the Finnish Christmas bread.
Yeah, they were lovely.
Yeah, they were good.
The kringle's yum because it has an almond paste. And traditionally you would do like you do jam, but traditionally it would be cherry jam. And then there's icing on it. And it's in another enriched dough. And like it's definitely, around the holiday season, like I love to have something like that in the morning, like a cinnamon roll or a sticky bun, or a kringle would be like perfect.
And that kringle is, and the shape of it and the way it tastes, it would be perfect for a holiday brunch spread.
Yeah.
Something nice and sweet. It tastes like a pastry. It's good.
That Finnish bread was actually lovely because there was caraway seed and fennel and anise, and it was more on a savory side because there wasn't any like none like the others. There wasn't like fruit in it. They're really lovely. But yeah, definitely, for our holiday content, we look all over the world for our content. Because it's such a nice time. Everybody's celebrating, and we try and be inclusive. So the variety of these kinds of, one year we focused on breads, which is why we have all these recipes. Another year we focused on international cookies. Remember like the Pfeffernuss and Linzer, and
That
like
was
all
my favorite.
Yeah, that was really good. Like so many lovely cookies, and then like other recipes from around the world. So like definitely for the holiday season, it's our busiest time of year for the website. It's also the most fun because we have so much content around the holidays.
Well, if there is a traditional holiday bread out there that we didn't talk about that maybe you want to see Bigger Bolder Baking try, leave us a comment, send us a message on Instagram. We love to learn here at Need to Know. And so now it's time to hear from our Bold Baking Network correspondents, and we're going to get their thoughts on holiday bread.
Hi, Need to Know. My name is Vedika, and I'm from the food blog Hot Chocolate Hits, where I show you how to make my favorite dessert recipes and hopefully savory recipes in the future. When I think of the holidays, I always think about cinnamon rolls. I think I started making them every year when I was 10. Since then, the recipe has evolved, but I just have a very strong memory of the first time I wanted to do cinnamon rolls around Christmas. It was winter, it was very snowy, and I walked by myself around 2 miles to the grocery store because we were out of brown sugar. And then I've been making it every year, and obviously the recipe has evolved over the years, but that's a classic that I like to make through the holiday season.
We're back with the Bold Baking Hotline, where we answer questions directly from you. If you ever have a question for us, you can leave us a comment on Instagram, on our YouTube, and we will answer them for you here during the show. Our first question is, can holiday breads be made in advance?
That's a great question. Yes, because I'll tell you why it's a good idea to actually do this. Is the holidays are so busy. Nobody wants to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, making a dough, proofing it, having room in the kitchen to roll out cinnamon rolls or your panettone or whatever it is. So I would say do your doughs the night before, and you can even bring them up to, if you're doing cinnamon rolls, like make your dough the day before, fill your dough, roll it, put them, cut them, lay them into your pan, cover them up nice and tight, pop them in the fridge overnight. Then the next day, take them out, let them proof at room temperature longer than you would normally because you need to get the chill from the fridge off them. So around an hour and a half to 2 hours, then bake them. And you're not doing all of that heavy lifting the day that you want them. Same goes if you're doing the panettone and the stollen, like do all that stuff the day before. And I will tell you that time is a yeasted dough's best friend, because during this time it develops flavor and develops texture. So, more bubbles form. And also when you think about like the benefits of a sourdough, it's like you're fermenting the dough even longer, which develops flavor. So definitely, around the holiday season, prepare within an inch of your life and get all of those things done. Your sticky buns, your cinnamon rolls, any of the other doughs that we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. You were talking about cinnamon rolls, and my brother-in-law makes cinnamon rolls every Christmas morning. And now I'm wondering, I've never seen him do it. And I don't think, he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would prepare it the day before. So I'm like, does he wake up that early? And
lots of people do. I remember going to Kevin's sister's house, and they were up at like 6 a.m. making cinnamon rolls, and you get the exact same result, if not better, because the flavor has developed from doing it the night before.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to tell him that.
Or Gemma at Bigger Bolder Baking, there's an unyeasted cinnamon roll.
Oh yeah,
so, but you can
that's
make
really
it.
good.
Yeah, so if you want to make
really
last minute
yummy
cinnamon rolls, you could do that.
Last minute cinnamon rolls. There's a no yeasted dough, and those are so good.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we'll have to try those ones. Mm-hmm. Our next question is, how long can holiday bread last at room temperature?
Well, I mean, a lot of these doughs are enriched. There's dried fruit and a lot of oil or butter and eggs in there. So I would say a few days if you keep it, wrapped up really well in an airtight container or airtight bag. I would say probably not longer than that.
Great. And then the last question is, can I freeze holiday breads like stollen and panettone?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Freeze everything.
Yeah. Especially if you want to make it longer, if you want to, keep it longer than a few days. If you want to make things as far in advance as, a month, you can make your breads, wrap them really well, freeze them, and then pull them out when you're ready to eat them around the holidays.
Just wrap them really well, like Ami said. And with some of those things, like the panettone, you can refresh them in the oven. So like cover them up really well in a foil or something and just let the heat get to them and like at 325 degrees oven for around 10 minutes or so. And it just kind of refreshes the bread and makes them nice and like freshly baked.
Well, thank you both so much. That's all the questions we have this week for the Bold Baking Hotline. So now it's time to do our blind taste test of different chocolate chips to see which one we think is the best. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'll go get them. Okay, so for our taste test, ladies, for our taste test, we have our blindfolds. So please, I know how good we all look when we put these on. So this is a treat for people watching at home.
Ready for my spa day.
Yeah.
Ready for a nap.
We have 4 different types of chocolate, and we are going to start everybody with number 1, chocolate chips. We're going to say what we think and then move on to the next.
Okay. Pick them up.
I'm not going to eat into the microphone. Okay. I have my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of chalky, kind of hit you in the back of your mouth in not a nice way. Number 1.
Yeah, not very chocolatey, a bit waxy, and very sweet.
Yeah, I felt like it took me a second to taste it. Like I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, this is the kind of chocolate that makes me want to like brush my teeth immediately after I eat it.
Okay, number 2.
Okay, make sure I do this. Make sure I don't make a mess. Okay.
This is better. Number 2 is better than number 1, more chocolatey. Still a bit sweet for my liking, but not bad quality.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I hope I don't regret saying that.
Number 2 is very sweet.
Number 3. This is a better quality chip
Yeah, I don't mind this
out
one.
of all the other 2.
It's a little creamy and it's a little like you can taste the cocoa texture of the cocoa in there, which in a nice way, it feels a little more present.
Okay, ladies, number 4.
All right.
Okay.
You think how like people don't look great eating as is, then we put blindfolds on and then eat? Like, I mean, why? Why would I do this to us?
These are good.
Yeah.
You have like almost like a cocoa liqueur kind of going down your throat. It was very smooth. It's really smooth.
This one is like, this is whatever this is what I have at home. Like that's the taste. It's familiar to me when I'm snacking on chocolate chips.
What do you have at home?
Like I buy like the cacao chips from Trader Joe's
Oh, yeah.
and I snack on them. And so I almost wonder if that's what this one is.
These are really smooth. I would say number 4 has a really like, kind of clean, smooth, it's almost silky chocolate taste.
I have to say, you guys, number 4 is not my, I prefer number 3.
I like number 3 too, but I do
Okay.
like number 4.
Let's take those off now because
Can I finish my
keep eating.
sample?
you can finish your sample. Okay, so Tiana, what's your favorite one?
So my favorite one, I agree with what you just said, is number 3. And then I want to make an educated guess that number 4 is the Trader Joe's brand.
Oh,
when you tell
interesting.
me later.
Ami?
I actually like number 4. I like number 3 a lot. I don't know. I'm kind of 2 minds. Wait. No, you know what? I think I do like number 3. It's creamiest.
Yeah.
And more cocoa-like.
Number
But I liked number 4 quite a bit.
Did you? I have to say, in comparison to number 3, I just thought that they was a bit chalkier. Anyway, okay, so I forgot my numbers, but now I remember because I have it here. Number 1, Nestle Toll House. Okay, that makes sense to all of us?
Yes.
I think so. I think we're all agreed there. Number 2, Hershey's. I have to say, I thought it was better than the Nestle ones.
Yeah. And that was the one that was more sweet.
I'm
And I
surprised
am
because
not a Hershey's fan.
me neither. I usually do not like at all the taste of Hershey's.
I'm going to go out of order here. Number 4 was Ghirardelli.
Oh,
Really?
I'm not surprised. It had a very smooth kind of. It had a elevated texture, a very clean. I'm not surprised.
Number 3, and I got this bag because I thought it might be the underdog, and I was right, is there's a supermarket here called Ralph's, and it's just your standard supermarket, like a Tesco or whatever, a Dunnes Stores, Safeway. And they have a select brand, a select range, which is higher quality.
Oh, yeah.
These were bittersweet chips. Sorry, they were bittersweet chips. and they were part of their Select range. And
like a Ralph's brand,
Yeah.
Select chocolate.
Wow.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I threw that in there because I was like, we need some higher quality and then lower quality. And I have to say, those are my favorite.
Yeah. I like 3. I also really liked 4. I kind of go back and forth.
To be fair, I did eat all mine.
So I would be interested for you to try the Trader Joe's chips, because to me, it tasted almost identical to the Ghirardelli
The
one.
next time, because I go to Trader Joe's a lot, next time I'm going to get a bag because I always see them there.
It's like the cacao. I want to say it's like 70%. So
Yeah.
that was so good.
It's also nice to know that this like Select grocery store brand is quite good.
Yeah, and it was around $3 for a 12-ounce bag. So like really good, like good value for money.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. If you have a favorite chocolate chip brand, again, leave us a comment, say hello, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Please like, subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can catch every episode of Need to Know on YouTube.
From HRN and the Bold Baking Network, you are watching the Need to Know Baking Entertainment podcast.